Happy 70th anniversary, Godzilla! I became a fan during my high school years back in 2014 with the first MonsterVerse movie and checked out the classic Toho films, the TriStar movie, and the 90s animated series. So, to celebrate 70 years of Godzilla, what better way than to count down my top 10 favorite Godzilla movies? Needless to say, this list is entirely opinion-based. Also, I should note that this video will only feature screenshots because Toho has come after me in the past for using a certain amount of footage, and I don't want to risk it. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the list. Number 10. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Kicking off my list is one of the first Japanese Godzilla movies I've seen. In this movie, time travelers from the future persuade Japan to go back in time to stop Godzilla's mutation, only to reveal their ulterior motives by unleashing King Ghidorah upon the nation. Despite the title, the film serves more as an origin story for Godzilla, highlighting his complex relationship with Japan as both a destroyer and savior. Number 9. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. For his 20th birthday, Toho had Godzilla fight a robot doppelganger. This film was a breath of fresh air when Godzilla movies were growing stale. The movie moves at an engaging pace, and the leader of the Space Apes is an entertaining villain. Another thing I like about this film is how it provides commentary on Okinawan independence. Oh, and King Caesar is cool. Number 8. The Return of Godzilla. 10 years later, Toho reintroduced Godzilla to celebrate his 30th birthday after a hiatus. A new Godzilla emerges, and after attacking a Soviet sub, Japan and other major nations race to find a way to stop the monster. This film harkens back to when Godzilla was a symbol of terror, representing the horrors of nuclear war, and has a more bleak and melancholy tone. Also, the ending credits song is awesome. Number 7. Mothra vs. Godzilla. After a typhoon, a huge egg is washed ashore and claimed by two greedy businessmen. Mothra's fairies arrive and plead for its return. Not long after, Godzilla arrives on the scene, and it's up to Mothra to stop him. This film provides commentary on capitalism, the destructive nature of greed, the harm of nuclear weapons, the rights of indigenous people, death and rebirth, the meaning of parenthood, and the role of journalism. It's a fan favorite, and it's easy to see why. Number 6. Godzilla vs. Destroya. As Godzilla is on the verge of meltdown, terrifying crustacean monsters emerge. They were created from the oxygen destroyer used to kill the original Godzilla. When combined, they form Destroya. The film was originally intended to be the final installment of the franchise, and a major highlight was that Godzilla was going to die, which, spoiler alert, he does. The film is very emotional, and Destroya is easily one of the best monsters in the franchise. Number 5. Shin Godzilla. After the success of the 2014 film, Toho decided to make Godzilla movies again on their native soil. Shin Godzilla is a standalone movie that reflects on the fear of its time, with Godzilla representing the 2011 earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disaster. The film features a unique take on Godzilla, with his evolving forms, while still honoring the monster, and it also includes some of the most brutal destruction in the franchise. Number 4. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack. Abbreviated as GMK, this movie is one of the most ambitious Godzilla movies. It leans more toward fantasy than science fiction, with Godzilla created from the spirits of the souls killed in World War II, and seeking revenge on the forgetful nation. Mothra and King Ghidorah awaken to save the day. Yes, King Ghidorah is a good guy here, and despite the change in roles, it works pretty well. Number 3. Godzilla vs. Biollante. After Godzilla 84, Toho held a contest for fans to submit ideas for a film. The winning idea came from a dentist who suggested incorporating themes of biotechnology and genetic engineering. The film's plot involves a scientist merging the DNA of his daughter with Godzilla and a rose to keep her alive, resulting in the creation of Biollante. Meanwhile, Godzilla breaks free from his volcanic prison. This film demonstrates that kaiju films can be more than just monsters destroying things, as it features a complex story with multiple plots and subplots, a large cast, and a global scale. Number 2. Godzilla -1. The newest movie on my list, Godzilla Minus One, brought the destructive dinosaur back to his origins, much like Return of Godzilla and Shin Godzilla. The movie is set in post-war Japan, where Godzilla devastates the already scorched landscape. It explores themes typical of a Godzilla movie, such as the dangers and horrors of nuclear weapons, as well as survivor's guilt. Additionally, it features some of the most engaging human characters in a Godzilla film, and the destruction is intense. Before I get into number 1, I have some honorable mentions. Godzilla vs. Kong. So far, this is my favorite MonsterVerse film. Plus, it was nice to see Godzilla and Kong finally have a rematch. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, plus Tokyo SOS. This duology has some of the best action. Plus, Kiryu is my favorite incarnation of Mechagodzilla, and Akane is waifu material. Invasion of Astro Monster, plus Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. These films mark the first appearance of King Ghidorah, and while I have my issues with Ghidorah being overused, I still enjoy these films, with the edge going to Astro Monster, as it introduced the alien invasion plotlines. Terror of Mechagodzilla. This is one of the earliest Godzilla movies I've seen, and while it has much to be desired, it was nice to see Mechagodzilla again. Plus, Titanosaurus is underrated. Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. I know this movie has issues, but Space Godzilla is cool, and it was the first Japanese Godzilla movie I saw, so it holds a special place in my heart. Number 1. Godzilla 1954. What else was going to be number 1? This film not only started it all, but also paved way for a new wave of monster movies and influenced countless creators. The plot on the surface sounds simple. Hydrogen bomb testing awakens a surviving remnant of the past that rampages in Tokyo. What set it apart from films that came before was the dark and more grim atmosphere and tone, and dived into straight-up horror territory. Further elevating this is the black and white cinematography and Akira Ifukube's iconic score. While many other Godzillas came out in the following years, none of them have ever topped the original. So those are my top 10 Godzilla movies. What are yours? Also, what was your first Godzilla movie? Let me know down in the comments.